Hi everybody, I'm back this afternoon. In our morning's video, I showed you the valerian root that I had wildcrafted up in the mountains. And this morning, I showed you it had dirt all over the roots, and I hosed it off outside on the sidewalk and got all the extra plant material, the grasses that I didn't want, all that situation. That's called garbling. I garbled it. I took out all the stuff I didn't want, and then I let it, all my valerian root and the little leaves, the little spring leaves, dry in my basket for a little bit. And now it's just a couple hours later, and I'm going to show you how to prepare a fresh tincture. It's a little different. It's actually easier than the one I did in a previous video, which was a weight to volume dry herb tincture. This is a fresh plant that I'm working with, so the process is a little different. But here we are. I had gotten my valerian cleaned. I took off the leaves. This pile here is what I've already prepared with the leaves off, so I just have clean root here. And I'll do that with a few more pieces that I saved and didn't do to show you. So here's the root of that one. You can see that the root is that they have the trailers. Here's the main root, the dark portion, and then these little whitish tendrils are the runners of the root. That's how the plant grows. So you actually get a whole string of plants that are trailing down like a hillside in the aspens, generally growing by the aspens. So what I'm working with here is Western valerian root, or Valeriana occidentalis. Occidentalis means west. Oriental is east, occidental is west. So that's the Latin name for the Western mountain valerian. There's another type of valerian that's called edible valerian that grows in the mountains, but it's not really used for medicine. This has valerianic acid in it, which is one of the studied active ingredients of the plant. So I'm almost done preparing my root. Here's another little piece. So I have my root here. It's really not as much as it looks like. This is not gonna make that much tincture, and as you'll soon find out, you'll find out why. But the next step in the fresh tincture is I have to chop up my plant material into small pieces. And you want this to be as small as possible so that when I mix it with the alcohol can get to as much of the plant material as possible. So here I am, chopping away, getting this into small little pieces. And I'm going to continue. I'm chopping up my valerian. I'm just doing that. And this is my valerian root, getting it into small pieces, fresh valerian. And the next step, after we've got it into fairly nice pieces here, is we're going to weigh it. And before we put it on our scale, this is a male scale. It goes up to 16 ounces. And so first we zero it. I'm putting my bowl on the scale, and I'm bringing it back to 0, so that all I'm doing is weighing the herbs and not the bowl. So we're going to put the root, the chopped up root, in the bowl and weigh it. And that is about 4.5 ounces of valerian root, a fresh valerian root. So I'm dealing with 4.5 ounces. Now, in order to make my fresh tincture, I have particular proportions that fresh tinctures are always done in. They're done in 1 part fresh herb to 2 parts alcohol. And you don't use any water in this tincture because this plant material already has water in it because it's not dried. So we have to allow for the water that is already in here because it's already diluted down. If this was a dried herb, there wouldn't be any water in it at all, or very little. And so we're taking account the water content in the root. So fresh tinctures are always done 1 part fresh herb to 2 parts 100% alcohol. You want your alcohol not to have any water in it, or you'll be adding water that you don't want. So as I have explained in the past, what we use is medicinal strength ethyl alcohol, which is 200 proof, or 95 to 100% pure alcohol. If I were to use vodka is about 40 to 50% alcohol. So I've already added a whole lot more water if I use straight vodka. So we want the Everclear, which is like this, or we want the alcohol directly from a grain company. So we're pretending it's 100% alcohol because it makes calculations a whole lot easier. So I have 4.5 ounces of this plant material, and I'm going to convert it to milliliters. So 1 ounce rounded up is 30 milliliters, and that is what herbalists use to represent an ounce, 30 milliliters. And so, but I have 4.5 ounces, so 30 times 4.5 is 135 mils, and then it's 2 times that because it's a 1 to 2 proportion. So my calculations total are 270 milliliters of 100% alcohol. So I want a total of 270 mils alcohol. That's what I'm going to measure out here. This is my alcohol. I'm going to measure it out into my containers and put it in my herb. Mix it together with my plant material. So last time I used a 1/2 gallon jar, but this time I'm going to use a smaller jar, which will tend to fill it up better. Everything will fit better. This is a gallon ball jar. So first I'll put my plant material in the jar, all chopped up. There we go. It's my valerian. And now we're going to measure out the alcohol. And I have my graduated cylinders. They come in different sizes. I'm going to need 270 milliliters. So this one up to the top here is 250. That's 250 mils right to the top of this container. It's right here. And then I'll need 20 more, and this is a 100 milliliter one. And my 20 mark, the way this is really nice, this little one. You see this red thing here? You can move this up and down and get it right where you want it so that you can see where you're measuring to. And I want my 20 mils. So right at the bottom of this little red thing is my 20 milliliter mark. So I'll fill up my alcohol right to the bottom of the red, this red, I don't know what you call it, I think you call it a thing, a measuring tool. So I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see this better. So this is my 200 proof ethyl alcohol. Measure out. It's pretty good. That's 250. And now I need 20 more. 20 milliliters more. A milliliter is not very much. Either is a gram. And then what I do is put it in my jar. And you can see it doesn't really cover the top. I'm going to have to mash it down. Get a spoon here and kind of mash it in. Can you see the liquid coming to the top here? You want to keep the plant material under the alcohol, because if it starts moving up above it, it can get moldy and ruin your tincture. Put the top on here. And what this will do over time, this alcohol will start turning color. It will start, it breaks down the cell wall of the plant and extracts the active ingredients, the medicinal quality of the root. And in a few days, this will be a lot darker. But you can see it's already starting to turn just a little bit. You're going to have to shake it up every day. And when you shake it up, guess what you have to do? Mash down the plant material each time. Some people put a little weight in here, or clean rock or crystal or something in here to try to keep the plant from floating up above the alcohol. Okay, and so my last step is to label it. You always label everything you make with the date. Today is, I think it's May 14th. May 14, 2021. Valerian root. And one more important piece of information, and I'm running out of space, so I'll get another piece of tape. It was a 1 to 2 fresh tincture. That's important. So you've used a fresh plant, and we've made a 1 to 2 fresh tincture using 100% alcohol. And here's my valerian root, and I'll keep it in here for 2 weeks, probably a month or so, before I put it in my herb press and strain it out, so that I'll have a tincture to use as a nervine for sleep, for muscle pain, for relaxation, for it's really good for when people can't sleep due to anxiety, where they're just totally exhausted and they're overworked and and they're so pent up they can't fall asleep because they're too tired to fall asleep. Valerian is really the perfect solution for that type of insomnia. So enjoy the fresh herbs, and hope you liked learning about a fresh tincture. Thank you.